Hello friends. So in the previous lecture we have discussed about a block diagram of the power supply, and in that case we have seen the filter circuit. So what is the importance of the filter circuit? Already we have discussed. Already you know in first year also already you have learned that whatever the rectifier circuit we are using for converting a AC power into DC power, then this rectifier is not providing a pure DC. So to minimize this AC component, we are going to use a filter circuit. So here the filter circuit, okay. So we have different kind of the filter circuit that last time already explained that either we can use a capacitor or a inductor or a combination of inductor and capacitor. And every filter circuit has some advantage as well as some disadvantage also. So one by one we are going to discuss the filter circuit, and we will see when to use a capacitor filter, when to use the inductor filter, and what is the advantage of the LC filter circuit. So today in this lecture we will discuss about a capacitor filter. Here, for this filter circuit, we will use a full wave rectifier, because already you know that in a half wave rectifier, the ripple factor is a 121%, and in a full wave rectifier, the ripple factor is 48%. Means using this filter circuit, we want to reduce the ripple factor. So here if we use the full wave rectifier, then already it is reduced from 121% to 48%. Now if I will introduce a capacitor in the rectifier circuit, then how much amount of the ripple factor will be reduced? It depends on the what kind of the or the what value of the capacitor you are using. So it can be reduced from 48% to a 10% or a 5% or a 1%. So it depends on the value of the capacitor. So in this theory, we will try to find out what is the relation between the ripple factor and the capacitor. So if we know this relation, then we can select or we can design the filter circuit according to our requirement of the ripple factor. So let us see how the capacitor is useful to minimize the AC component in the power supply. So first of all, I am going to draw a circuit diagram, and then we will see the theory of the circuit. So here in this diagram you can see we have a transformer. The input of the transformer, we applied our AC signal of a 220 volt, and the frequency is a 50 hertz. It is a AC mains frequency. Then it is given to a full wave rectifier. It consists of diode D1 and D2. Output of the full wave rectifier, we are connecting a capacitor in parallel with the load resistance RL. Remember, if this capacitor will not be there, it is simply a full wave rectifier. Now, when you are connecting a capacitor parallel to this RL, then the circuit is known as a full wave rectifier with the capacitor. Okay, now we will see the function of the capacitor. So at this point, this is the output of the full wave rectifier. Remember, at this point here, you know that the ripple factor is 48%. Now, after the introducing a capacitor, we want to calculate what is the ripple factor across the load resistance Rn. Now, ripple factor is a ratio of a AC component to the DC component. Whatever the output voltage is present here, in this output voltage, we have the AC component as well as the DC component. Now, in the last lecture, in the previous lecture, I already mentioned that the capacitor, if you remember that the reactance of the capacitor is given by a 1 upon omega C, and here omega is the frequency. Then if the frequency is a 50 hertz, and accordingly if we select the value of the capacitor, then this capacitor will offer a very small resistance to the AC component. Means we can say for this AC capacitor will behave like a short circuit. So whatever the AC component is there, it will be passed through the capacitor, and this end of the capacitor is connected to the ground. So all the AC component is going to be grounded. But when we are talking about a DC component, for the DC, omega is 0, so the reactance of the capacitor is going to be a infinite. It means the capacitor will behave like a open circuit for the DC current, and as a result, this DC current cannot pass through the capacitor and it has to pass through the load resistance Rn. So here across the load resistance RL, we have the DC current, and therefore you will get a DC output voltage. So in this way, we can say that the capacitor is going to separate a AC current and DC current, and across the load we have only a DC current. Therefore, in this way, the capacitor is useful to minimize the amplitude of the AC current. Okay. Now, macroscopically means minutely if we see. So actually what kind of the process is going to be happen in this capacitor filter. So if we are able to understand this process, then we can find out what is the relation between the ripple factor and the value of the capacitor. So let us see that how the rectifier is behaved first of all. Now already you know the capacitor has a capacity for the charging. When we applied a voltage, then the plate of the capacitor is going to charge. Now if we see the waveform at this point of the full wave rectifier, then it is like this. This is the output of the full wave rectifier, and we call this as a maximum voltage, that is Vn. Now, if you see how the current is going to flow, that during this positive cycle, this diode is going to be in a forward bias, and at that time already you know that this diode is in reverse bias. Means this will work as a open circuit. You can say the resistance offered by this diode is very high, so we can consider as an open circuit. Now this diode will behave like a short circuit because it is in forward bias. So what will happen? That whatever the current is coming from the transformer, it is passing through the diode D1 and it is going to charge the capacitor. So the voltage across this capacitor is go on increasing. And if you look at this waveform, here because this whatever the output voltage is there, this output voltage is nothing but it is a voltage across the capacitor because the capacitor and RL both are connected in parallel. So if you look at this, then the output voltage or the voltage across the capacitor is go on increasing because the capacitor is charging. Maximum input voltage at this end is Vm. Therefore, the capacitor will also charge up to a maximum value of Vm at this stage. Now here you can see on the anode of the diode voltage is Vm, on the cathode of the diode voltage is Vm. Means there is no potential difference between anode and cathode of the diode. So this diode will also now behave like a open circuit because the potential difference is zero. Potential difference is zero, so it is in reverse bias. So here you can see that D1 is now in a reverse bias, D2 is also in a reverse bias. You can say in this situation the transformer is cut out from the capacitor. Only the capacitor is connected to the RL. So the capacitor is charged up to a Vm value. Now this capacitor will be discharged through the load resistance RL in this manner. So when it is going to discharge means the charge carrier is going to be passed through the RL and the motion of the charge carrier is nothing but it is a current. So whatever the current is flowing here, this current we called it as a DC current. So here when the capacitor will be discharged, then the current will be flow across the RL and that current is my DC current. Now as the capacitor is go on discharging, means the voltage across the capacitor is go on decreasing. So if you look at this waveform, then this voltage is going to decrease like this. So again when the potential difference, now when this voltage is decreasing, so the potential difference is going to be a created. So now here you can see this voltage is go on decreasing, but in this condition the diode D2 is in forward bias. Here this is the output voltage due to the D1, this is due to the D2, then again it will be due to D1, then it will be due to the D2. So whenever the capacitor is discharging, meanwhile the diode D2 is now in a forward bias. So what will happen? Again the capacitor is going to be charged, it is in forward bias, so there will be a flow of the current through the diode D2 and again it will charge this capacitor. So the capacitor will be charged up to a peak value of Vm because at the input voltage my maximum voltage is Vm and therefore the capacitor is going to be charged up to a maximum value of Vm. So you can see on the anode the voltage is Vm, on the cathode also the voltage is Vm, means there is no potential difference across the diode D2 and potential difference is zero, means you can say the diode D2 is now in a reverse bias and it is going to be offer a very high resistance. Here now it is working as a open circuit. So again you can see in this situation D1 is already in reverse bias. Now the D2 also come in a reverse bias, means your transformer is cut out from the filter circuit. So this capacitor is again it is connected across the RL. So what will happen? This capacitor will be discharged through the load resistance RL and here again you have a DC current. So this capacitor is going to discharge. So the voltage across the capacitor is go on decreasing and in this manner if we see that again the capacitor will be charged, discharge, charge and discharge. So when you introduce, here remember whatever this waveform is there, that is a C is not connected. Here it is a without connection. This is A, C. And whatever the waveform here we have, it is with C. So you can see it initially the amplitude of my AC component is this much, or you can say there is a variation of the voltage from the Vm to 0. So there is a large variation. But after introducing the capacitor, the variation across this or the output voltage is only this much. So the variation in the voltage is decreased. It means the AC component is decreased, and ultimately the ripple factor is going to be improved. So again here if we see, again I will draw phase diagram. Then if you see the charging and the discharging, it is like this. Here, this is representing a maximum voltage Vm. Now, whatever the voltage is between this peak and this peak, it is known as a ripple voltage. And we are representing this as a VR peak to peak. Remember, because we are measuring this voltage from this peak to this peak. So it is a VR peak to peak. And then where is your DC? Here in this output, where is your DC? Remember, DC is nothing but it is a average value. And if you take the average of these two, here maximum value is this, minimum value is this. So if I will draw this line, then this is known as a DC voltage. So remember, here amplitude of the AC is decreased, but the amplitude of the DC is increasing. Ultimately, what is the formula for this ripple factor? It is given as I dash RMS by IDC. So I dash RMS is decreasing, IDC is increasing, and as a result, your ripple factor is also decreasing. So here the average value is DC, this is the maximum value, and where is your AC component? AC component is represented by a VR peak to peak. Now we want to calculate the ripple factor. So here I have to take a ratio of VR peak to peak to the DC. But remember, according to the definition, we have to find out what is the RMS voltage, V dash RMS, and then you take the ratio with the DC. Then you can calculate the ripple factor. Correct? So for that we will use a simple formula which you have learned in a 12th standard. Remember, what are this formula? That one of the formula, if you remember, the current. What is the relation between the current and the charge? Because here the capacitor is going to charge and discharge, and due to the discharge we have this current. So if I want to calculate the amount of the discharge, then if we know the relation between the current and charge. So in a 12th standard already you learned that the current I is given by Q by T. Correct? So that the Q will be equal to, we can say, I into T. So if I want to write what is the discharge, then we can use this formula. So the Q discharge equal to IDC into the time t. IDC into time t. Now what is time t? For how much time period it is going to discharge? So if you look at this waveform, then in this waveform you can say that during this period the capacitor is charging. That period we called it as a T1. And during this period, the capacitor is discharging. We call this as a T2. So basically, here, whatever the time period we have, this total time period is nothing but it is a T by 2. Because here we have only a half cycle. So the time period is T by 2. And during this time period of T by 2, capacitor is charged for the T1 and the capacitor is discharged for the time period of T2. So here instead of writing a T, I will write a T2 into T2. Then second thing, we can also mention here that the T1 plus T2 is equal to T by 2. Then here you can have a kind of a approximation. What kind of approximation? You can see in this waveform that the charging period is very small. Discharging period is very large. So approximately if you want to calculate the ripple factor, then we can neglect the time period T1. Correct? So here we can say that the T1 is too much less than T2, then the T2 is equal to T by 2. Okay? So you can say this is your equation number 1. Here we have equation number 2. Now whatever the amount of the discharge is there, remember, same amount of the charge will be present on the plate of the capacitor according to the conservation law of the charge. So again we will use this formula. What is the relation between the capacitor and charge? And already you learned in a 12th standard that the C is given by Q upon V. Means the amount of the charge present on the plate of the capacitor we can write as a C into V. So I can write this that the Q charge on the plate of the capacitor is given by C into. Now remember, what is V? V is the voltage across the two plates of the capacitor. And in our case, the voltage across the two plates of the capacitor is VR peak to peak, which is not filtered by the capacitor. So here we can write it is VR peak to peak. You can say this is the equation number 3. Now according to conservation law of energy, whatever the charge will be present on the plate of the capacitor, the same charge is going to be discharged. So we can write that the Q charge is always equal to AQ discharge. Correct? It means now you can compare the equation number 2 and 3. So we can write that the C into VR peak to peak equal to IDC into T2. Now remember, here we want to calculate the ripple factor, and for the ripple factor we have to find out the AC voltage. Therefore I am making this equation for the VR peak to peak, and it is given as IDC into T2 divided by C. Now what is T2? It is T by 2. Correct? And here what is the relation between the time and the frequency? So it is inversely proportional. So here we can say it is 1 upon 2f. So you place this value here, then we have IDC upon 2FC. So ultimately, what we have done, we have calculated the AC voltage, that is VR peak to peak. Correct? Now, but any formula of a ripple factor, we require the RMS value. So, what is the RMS value of this waveform? Let us see. Remember, here, do you know what is the relation between the RMS value and the peak value? In 12th standard, already you have learned that the VRMS is given by Vn divided by root 2. Means the peak value divided by root 2. That is giving a RMS value. But remember, here whatever the RMS value you have calculated, it is for a kind of a sine wave. But in our case, the waveform is not a sine wave, it is a kind of a triangle wave. So RMS value will be different. RMS value is not depending on the frequency, but it depends on the shape of the signal. And here in this case, for the triangle wave, that RMS value is given by a peak value divided by root 3. Remember, instead of root 2, you have to consider root 3. But now here we have peak to peak value. So this peak to peak value has to be converted into a peak value. So again, when you are dividing by 2, then you can write that V dash RMS. Remember, we are peak to peak. Now we are peak to peak, first of all converted into a peak value, and therefore I have to divide by 2. Then I have to convert into RMS value. So we have to divide by root 3. So V dash RMS is given by VR peak to peak divided by 2 root 3. Now already we have calculated what is the VR peak to peak. It is IDC upon 2FC. So we have 4F root 3 FC. Now IDC, we want to calculate the voltage. So what is the relation between the IDC and VDC? IDC is nothing but it is given by a VDC divided by RL. So ultimately now formula will be a V dash RMS equal to VDC upon 4 root 3 FRL into C. Now what is ripple factor? Ripple factor is a ratio of V dash RMS to VDC. So on left hand side V dash RMS is there, right hand side VDC is there. So I will take this ratio and that is a V dash RMS by VDC. You can say 1 upon 4 root 3 F RL into C. So this is the formula for a capacitor filter. What is important in this formula? Now look at this. The ripple factor is inversely proportional to the capacitor. Means as I will increase the value of the capacitor, then the ripple factor will go on decreasing. So if you want a 10%, 5%, 1%, accordingly you can select this value of capacitor. Second important thing is the ripple factor is inversely proportional to the load resistance RL. Means here whatever the RL is connected. So for the higher value of RL, the ripple factor will be low. And for the lower value of RL, ripple factor will be large. It means if I will draw a graph like this, a ripple factor against the load resistance RL. So when this RL is 0, then the ripple factor will be what? 1 upon 0, it will be a infinite. Infinite doesn't mean it is very, very high. Infinite means the maximum value of the ripple factor. And what is the maximum value? That is the 48%. And as this value of RL is going to be increased, then the ripple factor is going to decrease like this. Now instead of RL, normally in a experiment we are not measuring what is the value of the loop. Always we measure what is the value of the current. Here you by changing this RL, your DC current is going to be changed. Remember. And already you know, if the RL is large, then the current will be low. For the lower value of RL, the current will be high. So instead of RL, here if we draw the graph, a IDC against the ripple factor, then for the lower value of the current, the ripple factor will be low, and as the current will increase, then the ripple factor is go on increasing. What it means? That if you are using this capacitor filter for the lower value of the current, for the lower current capacity of the power supply, then only it will be useful. Otherwise, the current will increase, the ripple factor will also go on increasing for a particular value of the capacitor. But again, if I want to reduce this, I can increase the value of capacitor. But the very large value of the capacitor is not available in the market. The maximum value of the capacitor is 2000 microfarad. So remember here this kind of the filter circuit is useful if you want to make a power supply with the current capacity of a less than 1 ampere. And for the higher value of the current capacity of the power supply, you cannot use this ripple factor. Okay. So in the next time we will discuss about a inductor filter circuit. So this is a disadvantage. And then, in the next lecture we will discuss about the LC filter circuit, because the inductor filter already you have learned in a first year. So I will revise the inductor filter, and then we will discuss what is the LC filter and what is the advantage of the LC filter.